Representatives, ladies and gentlemen, friends of Canada. Het is een eer voor mij om hier vandaag bij jullie te zijn. This is my first visit to the Canadian War Cemetery in Groesbeek. I had a chance coming in and actually sitting here in the front row to gaze over the beautiful grounds in front of us. And it's very moving and very humbling to think about the families of those who were lost and who lie here, more than 2,600 souls. I know this is a long-standing tradition, and the impact of maintaining these traditions is something I think that I recall and have recalled often since I arrived in the Netherlands. And it's a way for us to also reflect on the impact that the war had on those who were left behind. Today we're recognizing in particular the important efforts of the Canadian engineers, but this was very much an effort by many, an effort by people from the Netherlands, an effort by our allies. I'm very pleased that we have a representative from the British Embassy here with us today. And it's important, I think, that we take the time to mark what has occurred. As was mentioned early on as well, I think it's particularly moving to see young people here. This is something I've been struck with since arriving in the Netherlands a few months ago. I've had the chance to participate in a couple of commemorative events, and there's a genuine felt commitment to ensuring that future generations are aware of what has happened, and I really appreciate that. 79 years ago, Allied forces gathered to push the enemy across the Rhine, not very far from here, in Operation Veritable. I've said it before and I've said it again, I am so impressed and moved by these efforts that have been made to commemorate these activities. This was an operation for which a very high price was paid. Dead and wounded numbered 23,000 Allied troops and 38,000 enemy troops, and that doesn't include the many civilians who were caught in the crossfire. The numbers are hard to imagine, and I'm just going to take a moment to personalize this a little bit, as each grave here represents a loved one who was lost during the war. Plot 3, Row D, Grave 10. Here lies Lance Corporal Antonio Barbaro from Ottawa, Ontario, and Marco mentioned him in the comments that he delivered just a few minutes ago. Lance Corporal Antonio Barbaro was part of the 23rd Field Company, Royal Canadian Engineers, bravely rescued over 2,400 soldiers who were stranded on the far side of the Rhine in the Drelle area at the end of Operation Market Garden. But Antonio was also a son and a brother who came to Europe to fight for peace and died here at the age of 22. In Plot 9, Row A, Grave 8, Private Neil Thompson, also somebody that Marco had mentioned, from Halifax, Nova Scotia, another member of the 23rd Field Company of the Royal Canadian Engineers. Neil lost his life the same evening, rescuing soldiers across the Rhine, and his wife and son back in Canada were devastated by the news when they received it. In Plot 7, Row F, Grave 10, Private Charles Mills from Chipman, New Brunswick. An engineer, he fought during Operation Veritable, later killed by a sniper on the outskirts of Xanten. Charles was just 21 years old. In Plot D, Row D, Grave 12, here lies Private Arthur Buck from Onoway, Alberta, a member of the 6th Field Company, Royal Canadian Engineers. 79 years ago, on this day, he was shot and killed by a sniper just across the river near the town of Ziflich, and Arthur was 28. There's many stories, and there's many stories that we could tell throughout the day on the lives of the individuals who gave so much from so many countries to participate in the liberation of the Netherlands. And the stories of the Canadians are intertwined with your stories. You've ensured that these stories will live on in our collective memories. You pass on the shared history to to your children from generation to generation, and we thank you for that. And I'd like to add a special thanks to Faces to Graves, who help us remember not just the number and the names of the fallen, but also the lives and the dreams of the fallen as well. Generations later, we, the Netherlands and Canada, continue to fight for peace and for human rights, and to stand up to tyranny and to hate. When we remember the sacrifices of those who came before us, we renew those commitments. So it is thanks to the sacrifices of those who fought and died that our two countries can today stand up together for the liberties of others and against the ravages of war. Thank you all very much for being here today. Merci pour votre présence ici aujourd'hui avec nous. Bedankt allemaal dat jullie hier zijn. Thank you.